9 days after the timber frame was delivered, and you can see it's erected right up to the first floor, and the roof is in. Just to highlight a few things to you, you can see the level of steel work that is actually required here. There's a wee bit of a cantilever there, and because this is a big opening, there has to be a steel portal frame just to stiffen up the entire structure. Let's have a look inside. So you'll see there's non-load bearing partitions are there. They're not actually erected until a later stage, but you'll see the external walls and load bearing walls have actually been erected. The window openings are all preformed within the factory. You'll see the actual floor joist to use rather than solid timber. It's what they call JGI joists or I joists. You can get longer spans from them, and you get less shrinkage because there's less timber involved. And this is moving around to where the kind of lounge kitchen is, and you can see there's a big opening there. I think it's something like 6 meters wide. Because of the big open space here, in order to keep the proportions right, the ceiling height here is 2.7 meters. There's the opening with the steelwork around. You can see again fairly substantial steelwork with the joists hung off that. And this is the opening up to first floor where the stair will eventually be. So there's been a fair bit of work done in that kind of time scale. I suspect probably within probably 4 days from when the timber frame was actually delivered, it had pretty much been done. And out here you'll see there is a projection over this existing masonry wall here. The timber frame projects over that, and this is a kind of covered access, and you can see the stanchions that will actually support the first floor above. So let's go and have a look up at first floor level. You'll see there's the flooring is actually in there as well, so that had been taking advantage of the crane when it was actually here to get any big heavy loads craned into the foundation and kind of under a bit of cover. Obviously it's not at wind and water stage yet because there's still a bit of work to be done up on the roof, and obviously windows and doors actually installed. You see very good scaffolding, important under health and safety requirements to have good scaffolding to give a safe working environment. You see that all the way around on the kind of three sides of the house. Again, just to kind of show you the extent of it. It was a very tight site. There wasn't much kind of lay down space, but what you do get a benefit of is the nice open view you're getting, and right open to the sunshine, so there'll be a good lot of solar gain. So here we are at first floor level. Now the floor here was supplied in cassette format. By that I mean it's all done in the factory, so that actually gets craned in panels, and you can see some of them there. They actually leave gaps, as you can see there, and that's obviously so that the water doesn't, if it was to be lashing rain and erecting it, it doesn't actually pond on the panels. That allows it to be to fall through. Again, external walls, load bearing partitions, and again on the roof you can see it's JGI I joists that have actually been used for the roof. Again, it came in cassette format, craned into position, so reduces the amount of time it's spent on site pretty dramatically. Again, big opening there, non-load bearing partitions all stacked up here. And this particular house has, you know, angled panels in that as well, so that again is all done within the factory controlled environment. And this is the bit where we're actually cantilevered out beyond the existing masonry wall that you can actually see there. We've actually formed some openings, and that would be for the mechanical ventilation, so they put in these steel bracers or reinforcement so that you can cut out fairly big holes to allow for the passage of services. Again, you will see there's some steel work up at this level for that, you know, fairly large opening that you've got there, which is probably about 4 or 5 meters wide. And here we have the opening where a big roof light actually goes in there, which will wash right down the stairwell and give a brilliant lighting into the stairwell. So we'll go out and up onto the roof, and this roof is a flat roof, albeit it's not entirely flat in that you can see the taper pieces there, so it will all fall to a point, and then the water will then be guided out into rainwater pipes. There is a bit of a parapet that you can actually see around the building, so you won't actually see the roof as such from the ground. And also the other thing is that the client in this situation is actually going to be putting in some photovoltaic panels, so again they'll be pretty much concealed. You'll hardly be able to see them from ground floor. And I mentioned the roof light. Well, here's the upstand for the roof light, kind of been formed here, and was lucky that the roof light was actually delivered when the crane was here. You can see which is a big triple glazed roof light, so a fair bit of weight in there. You wouldn't want to be lugging that up through the scaffolding. Again, you can see the actual various cassettes, and again the gap left for any water to kind of fall through. The parapet I mentioned, you can see there, so there'll be an upstand, so once the roof is insulated and the waterproof membrane put up, that will be up and dressed over the parapet there, and then there will be probably, I think if I remember correctly, it's a aluminium flashing will go over there and cap that upstand. Ply boarding there, that would be, once it's been insulated, then there'll be ply boarding put on top to form the kind of surface for the waterproof membrane to be put onto it. That's where the crane actually was positioned, and crane things up from there. You can see, remember last time the video was showing where the fitting pieces were. Well, subsequent to that, insulation has been laid and marine ply on top of it, and then this single ply membrane then is actually laid, so you can see they're pretty well advanced on that. But you can see here, this is basically, there's the actual membrane in the roll. They've got it rolled out there, and then they actually heat it up, and then actually it's almost like a welded joint, just with heat. And you can see in the far corner there the insulation. I think there's 160mm rigid insulation in here, so that will provide great levels of thermal performance. You can see the opening in the gutter there. That's where one of the downpipes will go to take the rainwater that discharges off the roof here. So all in all, a very easy to lay system. Obviously it comes up onto there's a little bit of a parapet there, so that will come up over the parapet. And I'm here today to see that the window installation has commenced. As you can see here, there's a lovely big 6-meter patio door. It's triple glazed, so very high performance. These windows are actually internorm windows. So the frame there is something like 200 millimeters wide. You can see it's been fitted with brackets there, and then sealed around in expanding foam. Very good quality. Will give tremendous thermal performance levels, and of course sound as well will be very good. There are a pallet of windows short, and they're still of course in Austria, so some of the openings you can see here, the windows are not actually here, so that will cause a wee bit of delay, because obviously we won't manage to get the building totally wind and watertight until such time as that windows are actually supplied to site. Mark, the owner, is actually going to build up some temporary frames just in order to make the building secure and wind and watertight. And you can see in the corner here where they fit this flexible foam there. And what that does is that closes the gap and allows the window to expand and contract dependent on the how much sun it's getting in terms of thermal, the movement. So there's the big patio door below, and then up at this level we'll have a slightly smaller one. Again, just coming in here, you can see the patio door there, not quite as big as the one at ground floor level, but look how easily it closes. And if I literally just use one finger, the door will close, soft close, it eases and then clicks into place. So really good quality. One at the end there is one of the ones that's actually missing. Just came to light today, so yeah, a wee bit of a problem, and there's a big window there. Part of it is actually here, part of it's there, but the other bit's actually missing. So then you see we go through into here. There's a door there. Now that's actually a door, and Mark's intention is eventually to have a bridge across from there into the woodland. And this is an ensuite, which has been finished in white. This one here, obviously with the opaque glass that you can see there. So this one, in terms of opening, just has a tilt arrangement because it's too built to have the tilt and turn, whereas most of the other windows are actually tilt and turn, which I'll show you in this one here. So you move the handle and it opens like a door there, as you can see, and then if you put the handle right up to the top, it tilts at the top there, so you can get a degree of ventilation. So it's what they call tilt and turn. This is now mid-May, so I'm back to this self-build. So we'll just have a look inside and see what progress there has been since my last visit here. I can see here this is a render board that's actually been used. Part of the building is actually going to be clad with render board. Some of it has got timber and some is brickwork or blockwork as well. So there's them obviously been cutting their bench here. Now you can see on this particular elevation, this is where the render board has been fitted, and then eventually that will actually be rendered with it's a K-rend that's actually being used. So what they've done is they've boarded the framed out from the timber frame, as you can see there, before the render board has actually been fitted. So that will give a really sharp finish to externally. Now as we move into the building, you can see the last time there was just the the concrete screed now. In actual fact, the underfloor heating has now been laid, and this self-leveling screed, as you can see here, beautiful finish, lovely and smooth. And the underfloor heating pipes are actually underneath that. Now this is the plant room, and you'll see there's the manifold, so that's where all the central heating, underfloor heating pipes come up, and then in here there will be all the controls, and then there's an air source heat pump that's actually going to be used, and there's going to be solar thermal on the roof, and batteries as well. So you'll see at the perimeter there, that blue strip, that's just really almost like an expansion, and that allows for any expansion, so it doesn't actually start putting pressure onto the timber frame at all. And it's obviously a nice finish just for finishing the screed onto as well. But you'll see that all around all the load bearing partitions, and any pop-ups for the services pipes. This is a kind of window that goes kind of 2 stories. I don't know if you can see that, but it goes right up into the upper floor there. So that's now been fitted, because that's the window there that fits into that opening there. But what they've done is they've left off the kind of bottom panel of timber frame to form an access, which will make it an awful lot easier for getting plasterboard and other materials into the house. There, and again you can see all the linings, all the framing ready for the render board to be put on. So again, I think since the last time I was here, I think the roof has pretty much been completed. There will still be a bit of work until such time as the render boards right up to the parapet. They won't actually manage to finish the roof. This is me up at roof level now, so you can see the roof pretty much all been done, and then the detailing at the parapet heel here can't really be done until the render board's up, and then they'll be able to put a flashing height over the top of that to make sure that there's no water getting in there. It all slopes towards the back. Can't particularly see it, but if you notice at the end there, you'll see the way it actually tapers from the front of the building on the left, and you'll see the parapet on the back right hand corner how much deeper. So when there is a fair slope on the roof, I think it's somewhere in the region of about 3 degrees. I'll just kind of show you the kind of view that you've got from up here, and then the back of the building, it's all trees, and there's also a bit of ground down to the side there. So, and I think the next stage would be, I think the proposal is to get the rendering board done this week, and maybe next week get the actual render done.